The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves as Detective Silva adjusted the worn fabric of his jacket, bracing for the chill of the abandoned house. Beside him, Marcos Morera, the rescued victim, clutched a battered baseball cap, its faded logo a relic of a life disrupted 2 decades ago. They stood before a structure swallowed by encroaching vines and shadowed by looming trees, their silhouettes grotesque against the gray sky. The peeling paint hinted at a past life, a splash of yellow near the roofline like a watchful eye. Their presence disturbed a flock of crows that took flight with raucous cries, their shadows flitting across the overgrown lawn like phantoms. The silence that followed was profound, broken only by the distant rumble of a car on the deserted road. It was a place forgotten by time and hope, yet it held a significance that drew them here, a place where echoes of the past still lingered, and where the secrets buried deep might finally see the light of day. Inside, the air was stagnant, thick with the musty smell of disuse and the faintest trace of decay. Sunlight struggled to penetrate the grime-coated windows, casting elongated shadows that danced with dust motes in the stillness. Their beams illuminated layers of grime on the faded wallpaper, hinting at a history of laughter and life now reduced to a haunting memory. The house seemed to hold its breath, waiting, watching. Every creak of the floorboard, every sigh of wind through the cracks sent a shiver down their spines. They began their search methodically, each room they entered revealing more pieces of the puzzle. A child's shoe lay discarded under a table. A half-forgotten toy lay strewn across the floor. In the kitchen, a cookbook lay open as if waiting for its owner to return. These weren't just relics of the past. They were silent testimonies to lives once lived here. Faces flickered in Marco's mind, fragments of memories he thought he'd buried. Laughter, warmth, the taste of his mother's cooking, all overshadowed by the constant, suffocating presence of Raphael. This house had been his sanctuary, or so he'd told himself, until the truth unraveled like a twisted thread. In the attic, amid the cobwebs and forgotten trunks, they discovered a hidden compartment in the wall. Inside, layer upon layer of newspaper clippings chronicled a terrifying tale of missing children, their faces staring blankly, their stories abruptly ended. Each clipping was a fresh wound on Marco's soul, a stark reminder of the countless lives touched by the shadow that had haunted his own. Then in the basement, chained to the wall, they found it, a rusted crib. Its bars, cold and unforgiving, spelled out a chilling reality. This wasn't just a house. It was a prison, a tomb. It was where dreams went to die. And the realization struck them with the force of a physical blow. This house wasn't just a part of Raphael's story. It was the heart of it, the place where his darkness had taken root and as they descended into the grimy basement, the weight of discovery pressed down on them. The stench of stale decay mingled with the metallic temps of blood, creating a nauseating cocktail that assaulted their senses. The flickering beam of Silva's flashlight revealed the grim truth. The basement wasn't just a storage space. It was a chamber of horrors. Rough-hewn walls bore the marks of hasty repairs, as if trying to erase the scars of unspeakable deeds. The floor, stained and scarred, bore silent witness to unimaginable suffering. Amidst the gloom, the sight that greeted them was both horrifying and heartbreaking. A small wooden rocking horse stood in one corner, seemingly out of place in this macabre setting. Its paint chipped and faded. It was a jarring juxtaposition of innocence and evil, a symbol of the stolen childhoods that had echoed within these very walls. But it was in the shadows beneath the floorboards that they uncovered the most disturbing evidence, a hidden cavity concealing a trove of disturbing artifacts. Photographs, documents and trinkets. Faces stared back, frozen in expressions of fear and pain. Some were familiar, their features etched with worry. Others were strangers, their stories lost to time. Among the grim collection, one item stood out, a small diary with a leather cover. Its pages, filled with spidery handwriting, detailed a horrifying litany of acts, each entry a dark stain on the soul. The diary was a confession, a chilling testament to the darkness that had dwelt within these walls. Days later, the diary entries were analyzed. The handwriting confirmed it. The chilling narrative was rough. The discoveries in the basement tied Raphael directly to the house. There was no doubt left in anyone's mind. This was the source of his monstrous behavior, the breeding ground of his darkest thoughts. Here, his victims had suffered, some lost forever, others bearing the scars of their ordeal. The revelation shook them to their core, forcing them to confront the depths of depravity that existed just beneath the surface of their seemingly civilized world. They had unearthed not just the truth, but a nightmare from which there would be no waking. The weeks that followed were a blur of activity. The house with the yellow window became a crime scene, a hub of forensic activity. Teams of experts combed through the layers of the past, extracting evidence that would bring a semblance of justice to the victims and their families. The diary was a goldmine of information, a map leading to more secrets, more truths. Each entry was a step deeper into the abyss, detailing not just the crimes, but Raphael's descent into darkness. Meanwhile, Leia, confined to a cold cell, remained defiantly silent, her face as impassive as stone, her eyes holding a chilling emptiness. She was a fortress of secrets, and even the most persistent questioning failed to crack her composure. Silva studied the case files, the photos, the profiles of the missing children, searching for patterns, for connections. Among them, one detail caught his attention. Many of the children had been reported missing from around the area of this house. Was this more than a coincidence? Could this place hold the key to more than just Raphael's crimes? His gaze fell on an old photograph, the edges softened by age. Two men stood side by side, their smiles strained, their eyes betraying nothing. Raphael and his brother, Elias, the missing piece of the puzzle. Silva's instincts told him that this man held the answers they sought. Reaching out, he pulled up Elias's file, his face pale, his eyes haunted, disappeared without a trace over a decade ago. Had he stumbled upon something? Was he, too, a victim of the darkness that clung to this family like a shroud? In the midst of the investigation, Silva felt the weight of unanswered questions pressing down on him. Who was Elias? What had happened to him? And most importantly, what did he know about the secrets buried in this house? The answers, he felt, lay dormant here, hidden beneath layers of deceit and despair. The hunt was on, not just for Raphael's crimes, but for the truth that lay at the heart of it all. As dusk settled, casting long shadows across the city, Detective Silva found himself standing before a nondescript building, its windows reflecting the neon lights of the city. This unassuming structure was the last known address of Elias, Raphael's brother, a man shrouded in mystery and rumors. Silva's gut told him that Elias held the key to unlocking the enigma that was Raphael. Taking a deep breath, he pushed open the door, stepping into the dimly lit hallway, his senses on high alert. The apartment was a study in contrasts, a luxurious penthouse overlooking the sprawling city, yet cloaked in an unsettling stillness. The furniture was meticulously arranged, almost to the point of sterility, devoid of any personal touches, as if the inhabitants had vanished into thin air. The silence was deafening, broken only by the rhythmic hum of the refrigerator. Then he saw him sitting in a chair by the window, his back to the light, his face obscured by shadows. Elias turned slowly, revealing a face etched with weariness and haunted by memories. Recognition flickered across his eyes, quickly replaced by a guarded expression. "Detective Silva, I presume." His voice was a low murmur, as if afraid to disturb the silence. "I have questions for you, Elias." The detective began, his tone even, his gaze unwavering. Elias sighed, running a hand through his thinning hair. "You've already asked those questions, haven't you?" he said quietly, his eyes fixed on the distant cities. "About Raphael, about the past, but what more can I tell you that you don't already know?" And so began a tense game of cat and mouse, a battle of wills between a relentless detective seeking closure and a reticent man hiding behind the walls of his own past. The answers, they knew, were somewhere in the labyrinth of Elias's memories, buried beneath layers of guilt, fear, and grief. The question was, could Elias be convinced to unearth them? As the night deepened, the shadows lengthening across the room, the truth began to unravel, thread by painful thread, revealing a past more complex and harrowing than they could have imagined. The revelation hit him like a physical blow, knocking the breath from their lungs and sending shockwaves through their carefully constructed realities. The implications were staggering, reaching far beyond the confines of this opulent apartment. The sins of the father were not his alone. They were woven into the fabric of the family, binding them together in a twisted, inescapable web. The story was one of manipulation, betrayal, and a desperate struggle for survival. Years of hidden secrets and buried truths came rushing to the surface, threatening to engulf them in their suffocating grip. The weight of the revelations pressed down on them, altering the landscape of the investigation and forcing them to confront the depths of human depravity. The journey towards justice had taken a treacherous turn. The path ahead was fraught with peril, and they were now playing a game with the stakes higher than ever. The hunt for the truth had become a desperate race against time, a battle to expose the darkness lurking in the shadows before it consumed them all. To be continued in Part 8.